Hello. So in this video, we are going to discuss about how you could approach the data when you first get the data set and how to move along the data set with the data set along doing the data analysis correctly. So let's just get into the coding part and see how we could do that. So the first thing is that this is the dataset that I got from the Kaggle. This is the suicide dataset. Sorry about the typo. And so here in this dataset, I'll just put a link of this dataset inside the description. You can get access to the link of this dataset and do it yourself and code along with it. I'm also making the screen enough stagnant so that you could refer to what I'm saying and then code along and then see your result by yourself. So the first thing is that we will be needing these four libraries, the pandas, the numpy for the data analysis and data manipulation, and then for the MATLAB and the Seaborn, you have to do, we'll be using this for the data visualization. So let's just load the data. I'm loading the data. So here let's just see what we have in this data. So we have got the state here, type code, and type, gender, age group. So what does this data actually tells you about? So we have got states of the of India, and we have got the year. So here it has given us the data about what are the suicide case, what is the cause of the suicide cases, uh, what is the cause of the suicide cases along with the gender and along with the age group and in which year for a particular state the suicide has happened. So we got the state, okay, we got the year, we got the type code as in like here you can see professional, why the person has done the suicide. So that is the type code, why the person has done the suicide. This is the type, like how the person has done the suicide, and then the gender and whether he's a male or female, and the age group, what age group is it. Now here, okay, now here what we'll do is we'll just analyze this data. We'll just do some kind of manipulations to get some kind of inferences of how the data is there. So the first step when you get the data is load the data. Then the next step, what I want to show you is that, so it has got this much of rows and 6 columns. So enough data for us to do the data analysis and all of the things. Now, first we'll check whether the data is having any empty missing values or not. So here I check, we do not have any missing values, but in some cases, in many of the cases actually, we get this like as true, like in one of the columns you would be having nan values or null values. In that case, we need to understand how we could handle the null values for a particular column. So there is a lot of resources available in the internet for the same, and I also have a lot of resources available on my blog on how to do that, how to approach the missing values. You can find the same, all the things in my blog written. I'll put the link in the description box, and then you can refer it from there. So now here for this we do not have any null value. Once we have confirmed there are no null values, there are no duplicate values. Yes, duplicate values is also the one kind of value that you need to confirm whether everything is cool or not in regard to that. So after having checked this kind of thing, these two conditions, we will go to the value counts. Like we do have this uh, columns, right? We do have these columns. How many causes are there? How many professional profiles are there? We want to know what are the different attributes inside the column. So we will do a value count of that. The value count of type will give us how many cancers are there in this much of rows, and how many divorces are there in this much of rows. So that is what the value count will do. So what I have done is I have created the value count for each column to show you that we have 15 to 29 out of this much of rows, we have this much of 15 to 29. And then if you add this up, you'd also get this much of rows. So from 15 to 20, this much is the value count, and then also 30 to 44, this much is the value count. For the type code, these are the total type codes. So you would do all these kind of things for each column. So let me just do it quickly. For the state, we got this statistics. For year, we are getting this such statistics. And then here what I'm doing is I'm doing ascending false, means here I want to display the recent year first, and then I want to see what is the value count. So that's why I've used sort index ascending false. So for the type also, you could also do what is the, how did the person did the suicide. So for that you could do this value count, and for the type also you could do this value count. Now, after having done that, the first question that comes to your mind, that why would you do the value count in the first place? So it will, since you have categorical data, we always use this for categorical data for the value counts. So the first thing what you will understand is you will get all the properties that are there in the rows, like how many, and also you will get an idea of how to encode this categorical values before you feed that to the model. Because if you recall, I have told you clearly that in previous videos we have discussed that the model will not be able to understand the values which are categorical or which are string. So we have to convert that into a form at which the model understands that. So this is how you're going to do that. So here maybe I'm getting 69 ways the suicide could have been done, like never married, not having children. That is the reason of why the suicide has been done. So what we could also do some kind of feature engineering to this, which is not in the scope of this video. We will be discussing it further in the further videos, but here just know, do the value counts gives us a brief idea of how to encode that and how to feature engineer that. Here of course we have to do the feature engineering. Here also we have to do that, the feature engineerings. Like for instance, if I do this false, so I'll get the feature which has the largest value count first. So if I do this one, I'll get this. So others like 7263 is there. And then for drugs cases, sorry, for the drugs cases, we are getting this much of values. So for diploma cases, we are getting this much of values, 912 values. So what I would do in case of when I'm doing feature engineering is that I will just put one other section, and then I will club this 4200 section into one, like drug, insanity, mental illness, failure in the examination, diploma, not having children, not personal reasons. We could do a column known as personal reasons, and we could also do a column as educational reasons, or mental or health illness. So that could also, so this is how you could do the feature engineering. We will be discussing it, but just let the way, because we are discussing the approach at which we should take. This is the step you should do, the first. Now, after having done that, we have a brief idea of what are the things are there in the data and what is the number. The next thing what we are going to do is we're going to again do a head count, and we will see the data again. We'll just, in between all the analysis, you need to see the table to get an idea of how the things are originally and how could you manipulate it to draw good. Now the next step of having done all of these things are like you just develop few questions that you want to answer from this data. Like I have developed few questions like find out what are the suicide cases in the last year, what is the number of suicide cases for each type, what is the number of suicide cases for each gender and each type, which age group has the maximum suicide cases, which age group in the state has maximum suicide cases, which age group has the maximum suicide case, and then for a particular reason. So these are few of the questions I have developed, and I have tried to answer it to myself in order to understand the data in a more efficient way. So you should also do the same thing. So what will happen is, so basically what we are going to do, what we'll do is we'll just understand few of the uh, pandas queries, pandas query parameters, or pandas function, higher order function, so that you could use that in order to find the answers of the questions that you want to ask to yourself. So here is the thing, put it like this. So I have got this data, and then here it is the group y thing. The group y is something which is like suppose we have a column, okay, we want to get a grouping of based on that column, so we will use group by that. After we are having we have grouped this kind of columns, so then particular column, and then you use a particular function and a particular parameter, so as to apply that particular parameter to a particular function. So here you have to understand two things, group by and aggregate function. Now aggregate function will take like whether you want to calculate the min, max or count, and you have to apply that on the, and here we have applied that on the type uh, 5, on sorry, type column. So that is one kind of thing. Now other kind of thing is, so that is one thing, and yeah, other kind of thing is you would also apply the same group by function, also group by function, and in this two columns I have applied the group by function in these two columns, and I'm applying this aggregate function. That in that case, in that syntax, it is just a difference of syntax. In that syntax we are using the column and then calling the aggregate function on that. Here we'll apply the aggregate function on the data on the initial data, and pass a dictionary in which you will mention the column and the parameter that you want to apply on that column. So that's how the thing actually happens. So let's go to the question. So here the first question that I developed is find out what are the suicide cases in the last year. So let's just visualize this table first. We have got this table. I want to understand what are the suicide cases, like what are the rows. Here the suicide cases are the rows, entire suicide case is the row in the last year. Suicide cases in the last year. So first what I am going to do is I will just find out what are the which one is the last year. Now after I find out which one is the last year, I will take out the statistics of that particular year, like the entire row information I'll get, and then I'll get the suicide case, what is the condition and what is the statistics that we have for the suicide of the last year. So last year, for this last year I got this data and put one iLock and data year and argmax. You can get this in the internet, or you can also do that. Understand that if you are already accustomed with advanced Python pandas techniques, then you could also understand that we are applying iLock to the data year. The data year comment out this one, and let me just log this. So here what we will get is we'll get the 2012. So that is the year, that is the latest year from the column that we used it. So basically what we are doing is we are taking the entire data, we are applying ilog function to that. Ilog function will give us the basic indexing part of that, and then we are applying data and then year to that, the particular column which is under consideration, and then we are applying argmax. Now this argmax is actually doing the thing. So if I actually remove this one, see, I will get all the information about the last year, right? I will get all the information about the last year if I remove this one. So that is the entire rows information. The argmax is actually is doing all the kind of things. It is actually taking this column and getting the argmax parameter to this one. Now what is which one is maximum in case of this year column? So it is 2011. So basically it applies for numerical data. Like if I do this, I'll just copy this and age, highest age range, and I will apply. These are all strings, and we'll see whether it is happening with strings or not. So if I want to print, uh, so it is giving error. So what is the error? Argmax is not allowed for this D type. So if the D type of this one is like object, you will get. So if I calculate the D type, you will get the object. Yeah, D type O is the object. So this one is only applicable for numerical data. Okay, so we are getting all the information about the numerical data in which the year is the latest one. So in 2012, the cause, the how the suicide got happened is divorce. A female does that. She is 60 plus, and then she belongs to Andaman and Nicobar Island state. Okay, so having done this one, we'll move on to the next question. So the next question is, what is the number of suicide cases in each type? So we'll try to find out the suicide cases uh, based on the type, group by the type. So here you'll get is like this is the type, how the person has done the suicide, and apply that on the and then count that. Like how many instances of that particular type has occurred. So if I do this one, I'll get, so I'll take the group by function on the type and apply the count function on the type itself to get the number of suicide cases in each type. So now after having this done, I will get how much people have done the suicide because of bankruptcy and sudden change in economic conditions. So these are like 3,850, and for widow and widower, for like this one 4,200. Now if I want to find out in this current situation which is the largest one, we can see like 4,200 is the largest one in current view, but we need to see which is the largest suicide case that has happened. So we are going to find out how the things has happened. So here it is the normal view. Now if I put a sort value to this one, so the sort value and ascending is false, that means we will be getting it in the descending format. So in this format, if I hit this run, we will get that we are getting, because of others or please are not unspecified, we are getting the because of unspecified reasons the suicide has happened. For drug abuse, insanity, and failure in this examination, we are getting this much of drug, this much of suicide. So like this we can find it like 69 reasons are there, 69 ways are there of how of why the suicide has happened. So this thing we could find out And then the next question that we could go across is number of suicide cases for each gender in each time. Now here we will be grouping that into two variables. So we will group the suicide cases based on the type, because why the how the suicide has happened. Then out of that how the suicide has happened, we can also do that in like which are the female genders, and then which gender has occurred, has done this suicide based on this count, and we can get the count based on that. So this is one type. Suppose I want to find out the suicide cases for each gender in each for each reason. Okay, so the number of suicide, we want to find out the number of suicide cases for each gender on each type. So here what we'll do, we'll just swap these things. First of all, we'll do the gender. So first of all, it will group by the gender. Out of that gender, it will find how many that particular gender, whether he's a male or female, has done that for which reason. So yeah, the female have done this kind of might have done this kind of might done the suicide for this kind of reason. For male, they have might have done for this kind of reason. So there are no students inside the female who has done the suicide because they are a student. So this is how we can visualize different type of things. Now one more thing we could also do that is, let me just see the data set first. Now if I want to find out, we have got male, we will group that by females, like by gender. We'll get the male and female, then we'll dissect it along with the group, then we'll group it. Now out of that group we'll find out what is the type code. So let's just see how could we do that. So first of all, we'll group it with gender. So we will get this much of male, this much of female. Then out of that, we will, in the gender, we would be having the age group. Like for the male age group, under the male age group, in between the 15 to 20, how much of what is the social status, what is the social causes of the suicide. So that we can count. So if I run this, I will get this type code they have counted for this one. Now, if also at all, this is just a fun thing that you could do. Yes. So here you could see I have added first created the female gender and then added the age group to that. So here I have got all the age groups, and out of the age group I will decide what are the causes. Okay, so for a female who is under this particular 0 to 100 age, 100 plus age group, the reason why she has done this suicide is because of educational status, and the number of this one, and there is no professional profile involved in this. Or else, for simplicity, if I go ahead and I can type the causes of this one, so it will be more clear. So for this male, for we are getting the diploma. So for a female who is under the age 0 point this one, 0.0 to 100 plus, under that the diploma is the current status, and the count is 456. So we could also do that. So for this for the other age group, they don't have any data, it seems. So it is showing for the type code, you are getting all this kind of distribution. So you could also visualize the data for for the male who is in between 15 to 20, the causes, the reason for the the reason for means adapted profiles. So these three are happening in for the male, while in case of female, in 15 to this one, this causes means adapt and professional profile. Also the same things are happening for female, but the numbers are different. If you could see, the numbers are different. So that is how you could do the by dissection. Now the next question that we can go ahead is, we want to calculate the group, the age group that has maximum suicide cases. So we want to have the age group that has maximum suicide cases. The maximum suicide cases will put the aggregate on the type as the suicide as the max, will put the cap on that, and then we'll calculate the age group. So group by the age, because we want to see which group has the maximum. So the first thing we'll do is we'll just find out, group it by the type. Okay, so the previous one was a little bit of wrong, so just ignore this one. So here what we'll do, this is the correct one. If we want to find out which age group has the maximum, which suicide case has the maximum, like in case of this bankruptcy or sudden change in the economic, 60 plus age group has maximum done the suicide, has 60 plus people are the max people who have done the suicide. Now if I count this one, we will find out what is the total number of suicide cases, and then if we put a min to this one, we'll find out that 0 to 14% of people are committing suicide for this particular reason. So this is how you could do this thing. Now comes next, go to the next one. Which age group in a state has the maximum suicide case? So we are using multiple columns to group by. So first of all, we'll group by state, and then we'll group by the age group. So which age group in a state, which age group, state, group by state, group by age group, has the maximum suicide case. So type that and then count. Then you will get for this state, under this age group, this is the maximum suicide case. So that is another thing. And the next thing is that which age group is the maximum. That is the same thing. It is just the same thing. Here we are getting if I will do this, you could see here we are getting the counts, right? Here we are getting the count for this state and for this age group. This is the count. Now out of this count, there are a lot of like reasons why the suicide would have been done. Out of that count, this particular unemployment is the reason that is at the maximum count out of that total count, which has resulted in the suicide. So this way you could do the data visualization and data manipulation. So I'll just put a link in the description to the GitHub lab, to the GitHub link to this repository, so that you could find all the cases that I have solved, and you could do the same with your case and just get a data set and start visualizing this kind of thing. So this is another one. Find how much suicide case males and females in this state. So we'll group it by state and then gender, and then apply the count on that to get the count of how many females and males have done suicide in this particular state. So similarly, what is the maximum? So here we are getting the count, and then here we are getting the maximum out of that count, which reason was the maximum used. Now again, we can also apply this in several ways. You can find out once I give the link. Now bar counts, and these are all the bar counts of different parameters, that is univariate multivariate analysis, and then this is the hist plot. So first of all, let's go to the bar count. So here I am seeing what is the age group that has committed the suicide. So you put the data, and then you put the age, get the column, and then value count it, and then use this syntax to give the age group to this one, and adjust the size of the window on in the fixed size like this. So you will get, so here what we can inference is that 0 to 100% are very less. So out of the suicide that has happened, out of that 0 to 100% these are very less in number, and the one which is, and everything is like of same number, the suicide cases. So that's how you do the frequency count, and you see what is the highest number of age group, highest number of frequency that is happening for the columns. Maybe based on that you can decide whether to include this one in your data set when you are doing the model building or not, or you can find out outliers. You can use box plots, which is mainly used for the numerical data type, and you can find out what is the outliers happening and how could you clear it using IQR filtering method. So that is one kind of other video that we will need to understand the numerical data visualization. So this is basically considering on the categorical data visualization. So the next one is the same thing. I want to see what are the types and then plot the frequency of this one. These are almost the same thing. So what I wanted to discuss is like that, this hist plot. So hist plot, what you can do is you can use it for the categorical variable multi variate analysis. So here actually I am taking the age group as x-axis. So here the age group as the x-axis, and then I'm counting how many how many type codes has happened for this age. So for 100, 200 plus, so first of all 100, in 100 to 100 plus, the causes of suicide is mainly because of social status and educational status. So then after that, for the 30 to 44 age group, causes is the reason, then means adopted is the reason, and then professional profile is the reason. So these three are the reasons why the person has done the suicide for in this case, and it's almost same for everything. Even if you can find the inference using the statistical method, you could group by using age group and put the aggregate on the type code over here, put the aggregate on the type code and then count it. Here also you will see 118656, and here 45023241. These are all similar kind of like 4 5 out of this. Like here somewhere 4 5 would be there, and here somewhere for the age count 118 would be there. So you could, we saw that how we could compare the kind of changes that we are doing statistically and then both visually. So you can, this is how you can actually do the comparisons of various kind of datas in your data set to get some inference of how the data set is there and what's exactly happening, and do some kind of storytelling. So here if I will do that, if I'll see out of this two, the last thing that I do, I can say that from 0 to 100 is something we are getting the less suicide out of everything else. So 0 to 100 plus, out of others, these are getting, we are getting some kind of higher, very less suicide cases for this range. So this is how you could do the data analysis for the categorical variables. So in the next, in some of the further videos, we'll see the numerical variables, which is actually a lot to get out of that as compared to this one, because categorical variables, you basically statistical stuffs happens is like more cool when you're doing it in the numerical field rather than in the categorical field, because the model, you, for the model you have to encode it anyway. So for that you have to stay tuned to my channel. So like, share, subscribe to my channel, and if you could not understand anything, while I was explaining, make sure you just put a comment, and I will make sure I'll just respond to that with the correct response that you have wanted. So thank you so much. Please like, share, and comment, and so that I would be more motivated to give you more educational videos like that. Thank you so much.